Imagine standing in ancient China over 2,500 years ago. The world is full of rival states, constant warfare, and political chaos. In the middle of this, there's a storm. And in that storm, there's a man who rose. Not a general, not a king, but a teacher. He doesn't carry a sword. He doesn't lead an army. Instead, his weapons, their words, their wisdom, and a presence. A presence that's so commanding that his very beard became a symbol of virtue and authority. This is the story of Confucius, the bearded sage whose ideas reshaped civilization itself. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Beardtory, where we mix, well, history and beards. Well, I guess it's not Tory beard. It's Beardtory. We're going to mix them, and this one is a doozy. We're going to throw way back to 551 BCE, allegedly. And this one is wild. And I hope you're excited for it because I'm super excited. This is fun. And if you're new here, welcome. What we do is we give a little bit of a history, and then we actually rank the beard at the end, and then we see where it ranks amongst all the beards that we have done. We have a top 20 list. Will this beard crack the top 20, or will it fall short? Because we've done about 30 of these. This is a good one. I'm excited, and I'm probably going to say some words wrong, so I do apologize. I try my best. I have a border town accent. I live in the state of New York on the Canadian border. Sometimes I say things differently. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments. But without further ado, let's jump into this. Because Confucius, born Kong Q in 551 BC, he entered the world in the state of Lu, an area that was known for strict adherence to ancient traditions. His father, a respected soldier, died when Confucius was only 3 years old, leaving his family in very deep poverty. But despite this, young Confucius showed early brilliance. By his teenage years, he was already obsessed with studying ritual, history, and music, believing that these disciplines were the keys to building moral character. He worked humble jobs, tending livestock, managing warehouses, and even serving as a minor clerk. But in every role, he studied human behavior and the principles of order. And as he grew, so too did his appearance. In Chinese society, a man's beard was deeply symbolic. It was not mere fashion. It represented dignity, maturity, and respect for the body gifted by one's parents. To grow a beard was to honor family traditions and to honor the family itself. Confucius's own beard, thick and carefully groomed, became a natural extension of his philosophy, that to live properly was to live with respect, inside and out. Confucius lived during the spring and autumn period, a very turbulent era when warlords and states constantly fought for dominance. He saw chaos all around him, corruption in courts, fractured families, and violence on the streets. He believed society could only survive if it returned to virtue. What he called Ren and Li, well, they became a thing. If you don't know, well, you're about to. Or Google it. Or I guess at this point, do we even Google? I think we just chat GPT, right? Either way, he became a teacher, gathering disciples who followed him like shadows. His words stressed loyalty, respect for elders, and the idea that rulers must lead with moral integrity. These teachings were later collected into the Analects of one of the most influential works in history. When Confucius spoke, it wasn't just his words that carried power. It was the man himself. Eyewitnesses, they described him as tall, dignified, and commanding. His beard flowing like a river of wisdom. The beard wasn't just decoration, it amplified his presence. Rulers invited him to their courts. Students, they traveled hundreds of miles to sit at his feet. Imagine being in a crowded courtyard, hearing Confucius calmly dissect the problems of the governance, his beard just swaying in the breeze, his gaze unwavering. The beard added weight to the man's already formidable intellect, turning him into the archetype of the wise sage that still defines Eastern philosophy today. Confucius taught that the body, including the hair, and the beard was a sacred inheritance from one's parents and should not be altered carelessly. In the classic of the Philolopaety, a text often linked to Confucius thought, the idea is clear. Our body, hair, and skin are received from our parents. We must not presume to injure or wound them. To cut off one's beard would dishonor that sacred gift. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. To cut off one's beard would dishonor that sacred gift. This teaching made the beard a direct symbol of virtue, and Confucius embodied the principle fully. His beard wasn't just long, it was the physical proof of his respect for tradition, his connection to family, and his commitment to living in harmony with the world. Art and literature, they carry this image forward. For over 2,000 years, Confucius has been depicted with his beard long, full, dignified. From carved temple statues to delicate silk scrolls, the beard became shorthand for wisdom. Even in modern classrooms where his teachings are studied worldwide, students imagine him as a man with the flowing beard who embodied integrity. Confucius died, but his impact only grew. His disciples spread his teachings, which became the foundation of Confucianism, a philosophy that shaped China, Korea, Japan, and Vietnam for centuries. During the Han Dynasty, Confucianism became the state doctrine. Government officials were required to study his ideas before entering service. For almost 2 millennia, passing civil service exams meant mastering Confucius's words. His influence stretched beyond politics. His philosophy molded education, family life, and even international diplomacy. And throughout all of this, the beard endured. Generations of artists and scholars kept painting him with the same flowing beard, reinforcing the link between hair and wisdom. In time, the beard of Confucius became as immortal as his philosophy. Even today, his statues stand in temples, universities, and public squares. His beard is carved into marble, his presence still commanding. Confucius's beard wasn't just hair on his chin. It was a banner of respect, a physical symbol of moral authority, and an eternal reminder that wisdom, like beard, grows only with patience and proper care from great products like Lift Bearded. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here just for the beard rankings or you skipped ahead to this video after this almost 8 minutes of talking in history, here we are. We're going to rank these beards as we always do on fear factor, wisdom points, intimidation level, thickness and wildness, and historical impact. And we total that score. We give a whole ranking. Hopefully my math is pretty good at this point. And then we're going to see if it cracks the top 20 of all the beards that we have done here on Beardtory. So without further ado, let's start with the fear factor, because Confucius was not a warrior. His beard didn't inspire fear on the battlefield, but it did command a subtler respect, the kind of fear you kind of feel when you're about to be asked a question by a teacher who knows there's no way you actually read it. So not a scary beard, not a huge fear factor for me. I'm going to give this a 5.8 out of 10. Let's talk about wisdom points. Wisdom points. A few figures in history rival Confucius. I mean, he was an intellectual influence. His beard became the literal face of wisdom that was passed down in carvings, scrolls, and statues. If wisdom could sprout from the chin, his was an endless harvest. So for me, wisdom points, 9.7 out of 10. Intimidation level, he didn't intimidate people with muscle, but he did with his presence. His calm gaze, paired with his dignified beard, had a little bit of a way of, I guess, humbling not only the normal person, but also kings, and it could actually silence entire halls. Intimidation level for me, 6.8 out of 10. Thickness and wildness. His beard was full. His beard was long, though it wasn't untamed. It was carefully kept. It was dignified, and it was fitting for a sage. It struck a balance between natural growth and cultivated order, just like his teachings. So for me, this is a 7.7 out of 10. Historical impact. His beard is one of the most enduring in human history. It didn't just decorate a face, it became a symbol to wisdom itself across much of Asia. For over 2 millennia, that beard has been carved, painted, and worshipped. So for me, it's a 9.4 out of 10. And if my math is mathin', out of 50. And this is where it ranks amongst all of the beards. Well, the top 20 of the beards here on Beardtory. Maybe we need to make a longer list. If you want us to make a longer list, just put it in the comments and we'll see what we can do here. Confucius's beard may not have been the wildest. It might have been not the most fearsome, but it was one of the most meaningful. It embodied respect, harmony, and wisdom in a way few beards ever could. So when you hear Confucius quoted, don't just picture the words. Picture the man, a sage who rose from poverty to reshape the world, whose beard became the internal symbol of knowledge and virtue. His beard didn't fight wars or lead armies. It did something greater. It carried the wisdom of an entire civilization. For that, Confucius earns his rightful place in the Beardtory. That's all we got. If you have a recommendation, let us know in the comments. As always, we'd love to tackle that in the upcoming weeks. But that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Take care, everybody.